So coming to the coding part, for the demo purpose I have created two tables. Let me show you here. Okay, I'm having a database. So this is my local PHP MyAdmin, wherein I'm having a database of first app. Inside the first app, I'm having two tables with app users and students. So app user consists of the username and password, and students will be consisting of the first name, last name, all the details of the student. So I have created a database with two tables, and initially those will be empty, but right now I have the data in that. So I have to get a connection between the database and my application. So in the application you have .env file first. So select the .env file. Inside the .env file you need to change the username, your database username, whatever might be the database username. Right now my username of the database is root. For logging into this database I have a username as root and the password is nothing, so empty. Just I have to give the username as root and password as empty, and the database is first tab. So here my database is first tab, that is I'm going to connect with this database first tab. So these are the three things you need to change. So database first tab, and the username is root and the password. And database doesn't mean that first tab, it is whatever the database you're going to get it connected with the PHP MyAdmin. Next, make sure the options below options are in the proper way. Now we have two tables inside the database. So go to the public folder, app folder. Inside the app folder you have HTTP controllers folder, wherein you will write the logic for the controllers. And next is you need to have the one minute. So inside the app folder declare the models. First of all, I'm having two tables, so by default you'll have app user.php. This is a model, and next after that I'm having two more models. These are the custom models I have created, user.php and student.php. Student.php is my model that I created in the database student table. Sorry, in this database. I mean, I'm having the first app as a database. So in this first data app, I created a table with a name called students. So your class should have the same class name of the table whatever you have created. So class extends model. So this will be the model of your student table. And similarly, user table. Class user extends model. So right now I'm having two users, two models. One is a user and the second one is for the student. These two should be interacting now. In order to use them into our controllers, that is, we have created two databases. First we have connected with the database, and inside the database we are connecting with the tables by using the models that we created here. So database connection is created here. For the database, for the tables must be created. So the same database whatever the tables we are having, those we are creating with the classes here, student table and the user table. These two tables should be getting contact with the controllers that we are going to write. So the controllers can be written in the HTTP folder. Inside that you have a controllers folder, wherein you can start writing the controllers. So you can have a number of controllers. I'm just using only one controller right now, like profile controller. So for this profile controller I'm going to have an interaction between the student table and user table here itself. So I have to get those two tables into my application. So it should have them two tables into my application. So use app folder dot slash app user as well as student. So this will be using the two tables. One is the student and the second one is the app user here. And next use DB and everything. We are going to create a controller for the interaction of the updations and everything. So profile controller is a class which extends controller. Inside the controller I'm having the logic for save user, login user, save student and get students. So these are the four functionalities I require. So first one is to save the user, second one is to save the login user in the sense get the login details and just check it out for username is password is matching or not, and save student in the sense to save the students, and get students is to get all the student details. So now how do I get the connection between these two? So I have a, for example, let me think that I am having a function called lol and the response is some message. So I'm going to return this response when I call this function lol. So if I go to the student.api.php, inside the api.php you have to create the roots. So root dot grouping, you can just group all the calls, whatever the calls you're going to call. For that you need to group up all the calls here. So the prefix in the sense what should be prefixed here, I'm having localhost slash inic first app is my alias name, API slash this should be prefixed by something. So this first app is the prefix name I have added. So prefix will be the before the call, what is the prefix you need to add. You need to add, I'm just making it as first app. So first app slash lol, in the sense it will be interacting with the profile controller lol method. If I call it as first app slash create user, then it will be interacting with the profile controller of save user method. So if I call login, then it will be using the login user. If I call first app slash save student, it will call the save student in the profile controller. So depending upon these functionalities, you need to write the routing here. So you need to route it properly, either it is a get method or else a post method. You need to decide it and you need to write it. So here let's go with only the lol. So first app slash lol, when I call it, I will be calling the profile controller lol function. So do we have any lol function in the profile controller? Go and check it out. Okay, there is a function called lol. So this will be calling from the api.php, and then what is the response sending from here? The response is just some normal text I'm just sending back. So this response will be sent back to from this lol function. So this will be when we call the get method with lol, then automatically I will get the message as haha. So let's check it out here. Go to the localhost. So localhost is my running machine now. Ionic first app is alias name slash API I'm creating. So the next one will be the this first app is what is the prefix name I have given. So first app slash lol, in the sense it will be calling the lol function and the response is haha. Therefore I'm getting a response called response haha. So this is how we need to call the API. So similarly, instead of lol, I'm having some other function like let me think that I can call get students also. So if I copy this get students, instead of lol, if I call get students, then automatically I have to get the student details. So this is the student details which are there in the database of first app get students table. So this is how you need to interact between the you can create a routing between the pages. So what we have done, the summary is nothing but first, after creating the application, you will have a .env file where you have the connection between the database and the username and password. Once if it is done, you have to create the models for that. So for that, what you have to do is go to the app folder. Inside the app folder, make the models created here. So app.user is the default one, and student.php is one model, and user.php is another model. You can have any number of models created. So let's try to match with the tables which we created in the database. So it should be mapping with the tables of the database. Next, these tables should be linked up to our controllers. For the controllers, you need to move to the HTTP folder. You can create, you have a controllers folder. Inside the controllers folder, you can create n number of controllers. Right now we are creating only one controller called as profile controller. So for the profile controller, you are going to add them here. That is whatever the tables you are going to use for this controller. So I'm going to use student and as well as app user, both of the application, both the tables. So next, I'm going to have the functionalities for this. I can have some code written here. So for example, we can have a function called lol with sending some response called haha. So this will be the response I'll be sending back. So I can get it from here. If you want to get the response from here, you need to have some routing. Routing will be done in the api.php. So in the api.php, you need to group up all the calls. What are the calls you are going to make? If it is a get method get, post method means post, and everything. You need to map up what should be the call for that, and what is the name of the control function in the controller. So I'm going to interact with the profile controller lol function. So go to the profile controller, lol function is there. What is the response, in whatever may be the response sending from here, it will be returned back when you call it from the ip.php lol. So the prefix will be the first app slash lol. So if I call first app slash lol, in the sense profile controller lol function will be called. If I call it as first app slash get students, then it will be calling get students function in the profile controller. So this is how you need to get the, you need to start working with the roots, routing and Laravel code.